Alright, the first thing you need is a power switch, one of these red things. Make sure this silver thing is facing, up. Just make sure you have that in mind. And these two things are facing to the right there. Alright? So now we're going to clamp this in. Well, before we do that, we need, this stuff is called flux. Alright? You're going to dip these prongs into here to kind of coat them. So I'm going to dip this in so they have that stuff in them. Doesn't need to be too much. Alright. Get the outside. Okay. So you got some stuff on it. Again, not too much. It's all going to melt the second the soldering iron touches it. Okay, gonna put this in here. Make sure it's not touching the ground, so when you put it down, it kind of has a space between the ground. Alright. First thing we need to do is add some solder to these copper tabs. To turn this on, you're going to press start, which is this A button. You'll see the temperature go up very quickly. This gets very, very hot, super fast. You can actually see the smoke. Alright. And when it reaches around 400 and kind of keeps fluctuating around there, you're good enough. You're hot enough. Okay. So now, we're going to take some solder, and we're going to tin. It's called tinning the soldering iron. So basically we're going to put some solder on the soldering iron. So if you watch, alright, kind of add some of this onto the tip of this. And when I put it on this, it should go on. Okay, see how there's metal on there now? Alright. And now I'm going to add some more tin. I'm going to do this to the other tab. Okay, so now I have metal on these tabs. Alright, these are JST plugs. You're going to need the female connector. This is the male connector. Alright? Hold on. So for this next step, you're going to need the female JST plug with the black and red wire. And you're going to need one of the extra wires. And the end that you're going to use now is the shorter end. The shorter end, not the longer end with more metal. We're going to save that for later. Essentially, you're going to solder this to the top tab, the one with the JST plug at the end, and you're going to solder the other red wire to this. Alright, and then this is just going to be kind of hanging off with nothing on the end. Alright, JST plug red on top, extra wire with nothing on the other side on the bottom. Dip the JST red wire into the flux. Do the same for the short end of the extra wire. This basically allows it to heat up faster. Also, again, take these tabs, stick them in the flux again. You want them to be covered in flux as possible. Before you solder the JST red plug to the top tab, you need a heat shrink. The heat shrink goes over the red wire and gets slid all the way down to the end. Then you're going to solder it. before you solder, and this is hot, always clean the solder between uses, and now you'll see that it's nice and shiny, which is what you want. Tin, again, remember, tin the tip of the soldering iron. Put a good amount on there. Do one side, kind of rotate it over. Alright, so it's a good amount on. Now, switch hands. I'm going to lay this on top of the wire over there, and you're going to see how it melts all together. You hold it till it gets hot. Okay, that's not a good solder. And it's not a good solder because you could see the threads of the wire. Let me change this angle. Hold on. Alright, to fix it, I'm just going to add more flux to that so it heats up faster. And wipe my hands with the paper towel. I'm going to tin my soldering iron again. Actually, let me clean it first. Okay. And now, I'm going to hold this down on here. Alright, and it detaches, but now I'm going to put it back on, so all of it kind of becomes one. And then when you pull away, hold still. Alright. And again, I could add more solder. Actually, I'm going to clean this off. Now I'm going to add more solder. Okay, now I'm going to feed this in. And that's way better. Okay? And now you'll see that it's one solid piece. Alright. Now doing the bottom one is tricky, and you'll see like this brown liquid. That's fine. That's just the flux melting. Alright. Bottom one's going to be a little bit. Okay. Cleaning the tip again. I'm going to add some solder to this. I'm going to flip it over. We'll do it on the tip and on the sides. Okay. And now I'm going to take again the short end of the extra wire with the flux on it. And this is all tricky because I'm kind of doing it from the side so you could see. But you're going to lay this down on the metal that you added earlier to the tab, and you're going to push down on this so it kind of heats up, so it bonds and becomes one. And take this away. Okay, that actually looks good on the first go. Okay, now the reason we didn't need to add a heat shrink, alright, because you're going to slide this up here to cover that, because we could just add it to the end of the wire. The way you turn this off, you're done soldering now, good job. The The way you turn this off is you press these two buttons together till it comes to say press start. And then just to be safe, you could just simply unplug it. Throw the other heat shrink on the end of the wire. Slide that over. The reason why you call these things heat shrink is because you heat it up with a heat gun or a match. And watch what happens when you turn it on and blow hot heat onto that. So I turned it on. That's why they call it heat shrink. The little tubes shrunk and now they stay in place, but they protect the connection there. Good job. You're all done soldering your power switch. This is what it should look like when you're done. Red coming off, another red wire coming off, and this black wire that's going to get plugged into something else. The switch is essentially it allows you to screw it, which joins the connection between the red wires, or unscrew it, which disconnects these red wires. So that's how you basically turn your bot on and off. Like you can have the battery plugged in, but it won't be sending power to it until you turn and connect the final red wire. All right, that allows the power to go through. This is how it should look when you're done.